Have you noticed how religion is present in virtually every societies in history, but is it really saving the world or just creating more conflicts? On the one hand, millions of people find in faith a purpose, a way to goodness and peace. On the other, wars, persecution, and hatred have already been justified in the name of God. And there, is religion a force of good or an instrument of division? Is without religion, the world would be a better place or worse? Stay with me until the end, because today we will dive deep into this controversial debate. Religion has been following humanity since the early days. From ancient tribes to great empires, faith has always been at the center of societies, shaping cultures, laws, and behaviors. But is it in the modern world it still fulfills this role in a positive way? Or are you just feeding divisions? If we look at history, we will see that religion was a determining factor at crucial moments of humanity. Christianity influenced the formation of the West, Islam shaped entire civilizations, and Hinduism, Buddhism, and other beliefs have structured various societies over the centuries. Great works of art, literature, and architecture were born from faith. Values such as compassion, forgiveness, and solidarity are, for many, fruits of religions. But at the same time, religion was also at the center of bloody conflicts. Crusades, the Inquisition, wars between Muslims and Hindus in India, the persecution of religious minorities, and even terrorist attacks were motivated by religious beliefs. Today, in the 21st century, we still see intolerance, segregation, and even violence in the name of faith. And does that lead us to a dilemma? Is religion a force of union or a weapon of separation? Had humanity be evolved faster, or would we be plunged into moral chaos? In the next few minutes, we will analyze both sides of this debate, exploring how religion can be a pillar for society and a conflict catalyst. Arguments in favor: religion as a pillar of society. Even with all criticism, religion remains one of the most important pillars of civilization. Millions of people around the world find in the faith, hope, and a moral code that guides their lives. But how exactly has religion contributed to the good of humanity? From the 10 Commandments in Judaism to the principles of Dharma in Hinduism, religions have always offered a code of moral conduct. Concepts such as not killing, not stealing, respecting others, and being honest have emerged within religious systems and helped shape more organized societies. If we are deeply analyzing, most modern laws are influenced by religious teachings. In many countries, Christian, Islamic, or Buddhist ethics still have a strong impact on legislation and customs. Without religion, would humanity have developed a sense of right and wrong so strong? Or would we be at the mercy of moral relativism? For billions of people, religion is not just a set of rules, but an emotional refuge. In times of crisis, illness, or loss, faith gives people a greater meaning to suffering and hope that there is something beyond earthly life. For example, in regions devastated by wars, such as parts of Africa and the Middle East, religious groups offer not only material assistance, but also crucial psychological support. During tragedies such as tsunamis, earthquakes, and pandemics, churches, mosques, and temples have become centers for receiving and assistance to affected communities. Without religion, how would people find the strength to deal with the suffering and uncertainty of life? Would the world be happier without this source of spiritual comfort? Another point often ignored is the role of religion in charity and social welfare. Religious organizations were responsible for creating schools, hospitals, and shelters for needy. Great spiritual leaders such as Mother Teresa of Calcutta, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King Jr. used their faith as a motivation to change the world for the better. Nowadays, churches, temples, and mosques perform social projects in needy communities, offer food to homeless, and help fight drugs and violence. Religious groups are often the first to offer humanitarian aid in natural disasters and war zones. If religion disappeared from society, would these charity efforts continue on the same scale? Or will we depend only on the government to take care of the needy? Religion also plays a fundamental role in building cultural identity and community sense. Many traditions, festivals, and celebrations that unite millions of people around the world have religious roots. Christmas, Ramadan, Diwali, and the Chinese New Year are examples of how faith becomes moments of connection and belonging. In addition, religion unites people around a greater purpose. In times of crisis, faith can be a powerful link, overcoming political and ideological divisions. In various societies, religion acts as a bridge between rich and poor, young and elderly, promoting a sense of belonging that goes beyond individual differences. Given these points, it is undeniable that religion has a positive impact on society. It offers values, hope, social assistance, and cultural identity. But does this justify the conflicts and divisions that also arose in the name of faith? In the next few minutes, we will explore the other side of the coin, how religion can be a factor of destruction and segregation. Arguments against religion as a source of conflict and intolerance. Although religion plays a key role in society, it also has a dark history of violence, oppression, and segregation. Millions of people were persecuted, tortured, and killed in the name of faith. Even today, religious conflicts continue to feed wars, intolerance, and even terrorism. But are these problems a failure of religion itself, or an inevitable consequence of human nature? Let's look at the main arguments against the impact of religion on the world. Throughout history, countless wars have been fought in the name of religion. Crusades, for example, lasted centuries and resulted in the death of thousands of people, all for a territorial dispute with religious justification. The Spanish Inquisition pursued and tortured those who did not follow the dogmas of the Catholic Church, and the violence was not in the past. Today, we still see bloody conflicts linked to religion, such as the conflict between Sunnites and Shiites in the Middle East, the persecution of religious minorities in China, and the terrorist attacks motivated by Islamic, Christian, and Hindu extremism. The big problem is that when mixed with politics and power, religion becomes a weapon. If faith is used to justify massacres and oppression, to what extent can it be considered a force of good? Another serious problem associated with religion is intolerance against those who think differently. Many beliefs promote the idea that there is only a true path and that all others are wrong. This leads to social segregation, prejudice against minorities, and even the criminalization of certain groups. Women were historically oppressed by religious interpretations that placed them in a lower position to men. LGBTQ+ people are still persecuted and even killed in countries where religion dictates the laws. Scientists and intellectuals were punished in the past by challenging religious dogmas. Galileo Galilei, for example, was condemned by the Church for stating that the earth revolved around the sun. To this day, we see religious leaders influencing governments to impose laws based on personal beliefs rather than rational and universal principles. When this happens, religion is no longer an individual issue and becomes an instrument of social control. If faith generates more division than union, does its influence on politics and modern society still make sense? Religions are also used as a tool for power and domination. Religious leaders throughout history have used faith to enrich, control masses, and justify atrocities. In the past, kings and emperors claimed to have divine law to govern. In the present, multi-millionaire religious leaders exploit the faith of followers in exchange for money and power. While millions of faithful live in poverty, churches, temples, and religious institutions accumulate riches and political influence. Moreover, some religions impose fear on their followers, using concepts such as hell and divine punishment to ensure obedience. Should faith be a path of liberation or submission? In many moments in history, religion has conflicted with science. Theories such as the evolution of species, Big Bang, and even modern medicine have faced resistance from religious groups. To this day, there are countries where scientific teachings are censored because they contradict religious dogmas. In addition, social issues are also affected. Debates on women's rights, egalitarian marriage, and even the use of stem cells are often waged by the influence of religious beliefs. But to what extent should a religion dictate what is right or wrong for the whole of society? If religion blocks advances that can improve human life, should its influence be smaller in the modern world? Religion can bring comfort, morality, and unity, but it also has a dark side that cannot be ignored. Wars, prejudice, manipulation, and censorship have been, and are still, justified in the name of faith. So what is the answer? Would the world be better without religion? Or is the blame for conflicts more in human nature than in faith itself? In the next few minutes, we will explore a crucial point: the real role of religion in the modern world. Does it still make sense? After analyzing both sides of the debate, an even deeper question arises. Is religion really the root of conflicts and divisions in the world? Or is it just a reflection of human nature itself? The truth is that human beings always find reasons to divide, whether by religion, politics, ideology, or even football. The same wars locked in the name of faith were also motivated by power, resources, and territory. In atheists such as Stalin's Soviet Union or Mao Zedong's China, millions were killed not by religion, but by extreme political ideologies. Does this mean that even without religion, would humanity find other reasons to hate itself? Often, political and religious leaders use faith as a pretext to justify their ambitions. Crusades, for example, were not just a religious conflict, but a territorial and economic dispute. Extremism in the Middle East often has more to do with geopolitics than with pure religion. That is, the problem is not only in religion itself, but in how people interpret and use it. Another interesting point is that religion has not always been enemy of progress. Many revolutionary scientists were religious, such as Isaac Newton and Gregor Mendel. Religious institutions created universities, hospitals, and preserved knowledge during the Middle Ages. So the problem is in religion or resistance to the new. If faith can evolve together with society, would it still make sense to reject it completely? Finally, one of the greatest dilemmas: can humanity live without religion? Throughout history, people sought meaning to life, hope in the face of death, and a greater purpose. Even in more secularized societies, new forms of spirituality and beliefs constantly emerge. If we eliminate religion, what would replace it? Political ideologies? The cult of technology? Or is the search for the meaning of life something inevitable in human nature? Religion can be used to unite or divide. It can be a source of comfort or oppression. But in the end, perhaps the problem is not in religion itself, but in the way humans deal with their differences. We conclude then, after all this, what is the answer? Is religion saving the world or just creating more conflict? The truth is that there is no simple answer. If we look at history, we will see that religion was both a force of light and darkness. She inspired acts of extreme kindness and also justified the massacres. He created essential moral values but also imposed dogmas that delayed progress. But is the problem in religion or in humanity? Without religion, would conflicts end? Or would we just find new reasons to divide us? If faith is able to inspire love and charity, should we completely discard it? Or is the solution not to extinguish religion, but to reform it, adapt it, and prevent it from being used as a tool for oppression? In the end, perhaps the question is not whether religion is good or bad, but like us, as a society, we choose to use it. And you? What do you think? Does the world need religion, or would it be better without it? Leave your opinion in the comments, because this debate is still far from over.